Life and leadership is overcomplicated, and we can simplify it. And these 4 agreements allow you to simplify life in a practical way. It's not woo-woo, it's not fluffy. It's about living a life in a way that allows you to be more in control and for others to see you how you want to be seen. The 4 Agreements is a fantastic book written by Don Miguel Ruiz. And he talked about the 4 agreements in a way that allows you to apply these day in, day out in your life. And by having these 4 agreements, it allows you to simplify the most complicated things. Life's going to happen to you. Things happen in the world. Things are always changing. And a lot of mental illness, a lot of anxiety, depression, and stress has occurred because we try and control things we can't control. But we're often coming from a base of where we're not solid, we're not secure. We're not in a place whereby we feel we've got the resilience and we've got the strength and the courage to take life forward. But by practicing these 4 agreements, it gives you a fantastic baseline to work from. So these are the 4 agreements. Number 1, be impeccable with your word. Number 2, don't take anything personally. Number 3, don't make any assumptions. And number 4, do your best. So let's look at number 1, be impeccable with your word. Now think about this, words create the world. Words create your reality. Everything is communication. Everything in the world exists because someone spoke it. Someone spoke it and it created. You know, the evolution of man, the way animals are, they have language in different ways. But we as conscious beings created this verbal language. We created words, we have languages around the world. Now we think about it, when we speak, we create. When we create, we can create possibility through curiosity. So every time we speak something, whether it's to ourselves or someone else, you create something. You create a ripple effect around the world. Imagine this. Imagine you lived in a world where everybody you spoke to actually kept their word. How much less stress would there be in your life? How much more control would you have around your emotions? How much would the world be a much more peaceful and productive place if we just kept our word? So why don't we keep our word? There's a number of reasons around that. Number 1 is we're people pleasing too much. Number 2, we're afraid to say no. Number 3, we want to avoid conflict. So sometimes we say things and agree with things and say things because we don't want to be seen as a non-team player. We don't want to be seen as awkward. But the problem is this, is when we don't keep our word, our trust erodes. Think about people in your life right now who've said they're going to do something. It might be quite innocuous, little low-level things like, I don't know, get the shopping done or clean the house or something. Or high-level things whereby you work in a career, you're doing a business and you need a report on a certain time that allows you to create another strategy. And that report is late. The person had the intention of giving it to you, but stuff happened, life happened. But what often occurs is that they don't manage their own capacity. They commit to things and they say things in the moment to avoid the conflict, in the moment to not be seen as awkward. But the problem there is then life takes over, or you're not organizing stuff and you don't keep your word. And we live in a society right now is we're quite tolerant of, I get it, you're really busy, I get it, things happen, I get it, and I get that, and life does happen. However, I think it's gone beyond the reasonable acceptance because we conveniently use the fact that, some people might be late all the time. We conveniently use when we're really busy. Why? What's going on? What is life for? Is life for just to be busy, to get things done? Or is it to live? And we sometimes forget the process and the journey. So this agreement about being impeccable with your word, this is a challenge for you. Imagine that in the next week is you give a commitment to keep your word. Now what that forces you to do is to be careful what you agree to. What that forces you to do is not say yes to a lot of things. What that forces you to do is to analyze, are you saying yes to certain things just to people please? Or does it serve you? What will now start to come up for you is this sort of anxiety around, wow, how will I be seen? What will people think of me if I don't agree? But what happens is about creating boundaries for yourself. When you start creating boundaries for yourself and keeping your word, 2 things occur. Number 1 is people start seeing you in a different way. They respect you more. They understand that actually when this person says something, they're going to do it. It gives them confidence now about what you're doing. And when you do say no, they know you're coming from a good place. So it's changing the way people see you. And one thing I've committed to in my life is I will not say something or not commit to my word, because my word is everything. And the nature of the job that I do, I actually, when I'm with clients, the first thing I say to them, I will do this, I will never be late, I will do this. And it forces me to ensure I stay to that standard. What it also does is the nature of the work, it's not only in the doing, it's in the being of the doing. So let's say, and imagine you go to a doctor and they tell you about how to be healthy, but you look at their lifestyle and the way they may show up, and there's incongruency by the advice they're giving you and how they show up. So in my line of work, it's like if I'm asking people to perform at a high standard, if I'm asking people to keep a certain standard, I've got to follow that. So I keep a standard there. So one of my non-negotiables is to be impeccable with my word. Now, when you take this to a leadership scenario, think about this, is it gives you high level of integrity. When you keep your word and your people around you, whether you're leading up or leading down, do you know what, so-and-so says something? It always happens. There's a level of certainty that in itself means stuff gets done. Commit to only saying what you mean. So watch what you say. Don't create a Tourette scenario, just like agreeing and saying yes and just be in the team play in the moment where actually you think, actually, this doesn't work for me. I can't commit to that, or I can't give you my word, and this is the reason for it. And you create a discussion around that. And when you create that discussion, what other people see is, wow, do you know what? This person's got a high standard. That high standard means they're not going to automatically commit. Respect automatically occurs. Think about the people that you know in your life who don't automatically say yes, who have boundaries, who actually say, well, I can do this, but I can't do this. Think about, do you have more respect for them because they keep their word and they keep these boundaries, or less respect? I dare say it's probably more respect. The other thing about language is this, is avoid talking about people behind their back, avoid gossip, avoid conversations around third-party situations that don't impact you, because there's no benefit of that. It doesn't serve you in terms of the moment, in terms of the situation. So if there's a complaint about a third party, it's about what are we doing about it? Are we going to speak to that person to understand what's going on, as opposed to you sitting here and complain about something, you have some dialogue, but then not do something about it. It's unfair on you, it's unfair on the third party. So when you keep your word, be impeccable with your word and keep that commitment, just watch how your life changes. My challenge to you, number one, is this. Watching this video, think about the next week. In the next week, look at all the things going on and say, right, I'm just going to keep my word. So it might mean you have to not commit to certain things that you automatically commit to. See what comes up for you and see what conversation you need to have with those third parties. Number two, don't take anything personally. Now, when people talk to you, most people are coming from a place of their own perception. So when they give you feedback, then they talk about certain things. They're always coming from the position of their projection. So when they give you some feedback that may be quite confrontational, is do you take it personally or do you take it professionally? Because everybody's coming from their personal. Now imagine this, imagine how much powerful you would be if you stopped taking anything personally. So whatever people said, respect them for their opinion and just park it. Now, in a work situation, in a business situation, a lot of people get professional feedback, but they take that personally. And when they take it personally, it impacts them in terms of, oh, they didn't like me, or they criticize me, or they don't think I'm intelligent enough or good enough, or blah, blah, blah. And then that impacts the actual relationship, as opposed to being mature enough to say, actually, I'm going to take this feedback professionally for what it is and see what conversations I can have with that person that allows both of us to grow. So when you stop taking things personally, you don't judge people. People have opinions. Are those opinions always correct? Probably not. It's about trusting yourself. Do you know when you've done good? Do you know when you've done bad? Do you know when you could improve? Do you know when you've dropped your standards? You usually do. So whatever else people says, yes, accept the feedback, take the feedback on, but don't take it personally. And when you stop taking things personally, just watch how your world starts to increase in terms of your own stress levels, which they start reducing, and worrying about what other people think. When you don't take things personally, you don't attach yourself to the praise, and same way, you don't attach yourself to criticism. So when praise comes, be grateful for it. When criticism comes, be grateful for it. And don't have these peaks and troughs. And what you do is your performance and your outlook on life is not dependent on whether somebody else says, good job, the validation, because you can't control that. So all of a sudden, if you base your own performance and your own validity on whether somebody says you've done well, you're on a hide into nothing, because you're forever going to seek that. And it's like, you're only as good as the last bit of criticism or feedback, then you're not in control. You're not in control of your life. So stop taking things personally, focus on your inner loci in terms of when you've done good, and see how much more your performance improves. Agreement number 3, don't make assumptions. Now think about this. I work a lot in corporate organizations. I work a lot with C-suite executives and senior managers. And I see conversations happening. And there's conversations happening and often there's a conclusion about somebody else's behavior or actions where there's some assumptions put in. And there might be educated assumptions, but assumptions still. Now the problem with assumptions, it's literally non-factual based and you fill in the gaps. And the more assumptions you make, the more room for error. So the key here is to have no assumptions. How do you have no assumptions? Ask the questions, get in conversations. Don't assume anything. And when you start having these productive conversations and clarifying everything, again, it makes your position much more highly respectful. And it allows other people to think, you know what? You don't just make assumptions, you ask me. And it might be a difficult conversation, it might be a constructive conversation, but either way, people get in the habit of knowing you're going to clarify everything and not make assumptions. That in itself elevates your respect with them in an instant. The key is this: replace assumptions with curiosity. So if you're not sure about something, be curious. What could be the situation? What question do I need to ask? Who do I need to speak to? And what kind of questions do I need to ask them? Allow me to get the facts of the case and be continually curious and not make a decision on assumptions. Now, the reason people like to keep assumptions, because the alternative of dismantling an assumption is asking the question. The problem with asking the question, when it can be maybe quite delicate, is potential conflict and confrontation. And we as humans don't like that. And this is where you've got to step up and say, actually, I'm not looking for a confrontation or conflict. What I'm looking for is clarity. Clarity through curiosity creates communication, which means you get performance. Your performance increases and other people's respect for you increases as well. Agreement number 4, always do your best. Now, let's concede here. Every day, your best is different. Now, when you think about the 1% factor and improving every day, you want to make sure the way you are today is better than yesterday. But hey, we all have bad days. Sometimes because of outside circumstances, we don't feel great. Our mood is going out. We're highly anxious. And it's about, in this moment, what's my best? And if you have this notion, right, every day I always do my best based on what's going on, you can't fail. You just can't fail. So some days it might be a duvet day, which is fine. Some days you just need to take some time out. And some days you're in the flow and it's bang, 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 and you're having conversations, you're getting things done, which is great. But the key is when you have the awareness, I'm always doing my best based on the context of where I'm at, you cannot fail. And others seeing that helps them improve their game as well. Don't overwork to impress others. Work to express your capability. Work to the point whereby, what am I capable of, and express that. And don't worry about how others see you, because if you look to impress others, their measure of success is different to yours. So you might think, wow, I've done a really great job on doing certain things, and they will measure it from a different viewpoint. Wow, they don't see my best. You know when you've done your best, and you know when you've not done your best. And that's okay. It's the level of self-awareness you have around that ensures good progress. And the key above all of these things is a focus on progress, not perfection. Getting things over the line. I have this notion about doing things fast, but never in a hurry. Because when you start doing things fast and never in a hurry, you start to get things done quickly, but the process of the actual task is done not in a hurry. So think about this video. I arranged the content of this, rehearsed it a few times, and then I say, okay, right, let's just do the video then, and the editing and all the rest of it, not in a hurry, so I get the best product out there. So now imagine living your life with these 4 agreements. So you speak with integrity. You never say anything you're not going to keep your word to. Number 2, you don't take things personally. You see them how they are. Yes, you take professional feedback. You never take anything personally. Number 3, you don't make assumptions. You seek clarity through curiosity and communication, and you don't fall into the trap of guessing. And number 4, you always do your best. You see where you're at, you see what's going on around you, and you assess, what can I do to do my best? Imagine living your life on these 4 agreements. Imagine now how the world will show up for you if you base your life on these 4 agreements. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope some of the insights I've given you here helps you. Please subscribe to this channel and this video, and I look forward to seeing you.